Welcome to Unveiled Radiance, podcast to help you strip away fear of aging. Hello, I'm Dr. Natalya, licensed naturopathic physician, aesthetic expert injector, and owner of Desert Bloom Skincare. In each episode, we will discuss everything about skincare, strip away confusion about aesthetic medicine, and help you deeply understand what happens in your body as you start aging. We will invite expert opinion and, of course, science backed information to help you deeply understand you. This podcast is part of educational platform called Unveiled You, which I designed for women just like you to help you understand everything, not just about your skin, which is your largest body's organ, but everything that's happened to your body from puberty all the way through past menopause, and enjoy and embrace every stage of that beautiful life. Let's get started. I am Natalya Borokovsky, and welcome to Unveiled Radiance. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Unveiled Radiance. And today we have a very exciting conversation. We are going to talk about food. Who doesn't love food? We all love food, right? But somehow we develop this very toxic relationship with food. We get these things, oh, this food is forbidden, or I'm going to punish myself for eating that type of food. So we are going to unpack it all. We are going to talk about food that we need to love. We are going to focus specifically today on food that's good for your skin. So the name of the episode is Eat Your Skincare. So we're going to talk about this new trendy myth that kind of been raised up on social media. But before we get into this whole nitty-gritty fun stuff of this conversation, I want everyone to meet Yoshi. She is very passionate about good nutrition, and she's here to start sharing her journey with us. So Yoshi, please tell us about you, what brought you to nutrition, and how do you separate yourself from all the other social media so-called nutrition gurus?
Oh, yeah, sounds good. Well, thank you, Natalia, for having me. I really appreciate that. I love to talk about food. I love to talk about nutrition because there are just a lot of misconceptions when it comes to eating, and the way that the food goes into our bodies and what it does when it's in there. So let me go way back in my 20s that started me on this journey. I actually had gone to the doctor, and make a long story short, she says, "You have a cyst." And I'm like, "A what?" The only thing I had heard of a cyst is my cousin, and she had an operation. And you're in your 20s, you just hear like, okay, first of all, I know I'm not having some operation. And she's like, no, 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 it's not that bad. We're going to do this and that. And I was living in Brooklyn at the time. So I did what my senses told me to do. And I went and talked to a Jamaican man that ran a store in Brooklyn, and he told me what to stop eating. And I was like, wow, yeah. So I stopped eating it. I felt no more pain in my stomach area. And I'm like, wow, this really worked because I knew it was something that was created in me. I knew that I wasn't born with it. I didn't know God at the time. I didn't think that it had anything to do with that. I just knew that I could rid my body of this. And then later on, talking about skin, I contracted eczema. Oh my goodness, the itchy itchies. And you read all this stuff of what to do, what to do. And I used to work across the street from the World Trade Center in New York. There was an old Indian man that worked in the World Trade Center at a herb store. So he told me to just drink burdock root. That's what I did. I drank gobs of it just straight. And if anyone's ever tasted burdock, it's not that good, but I was ready. So it went away as well. And I do feel like I definitely kept up with the things that I didn't eat, no fried foods and cheeses and all the things that cause havoc in your body. So that's how it all started. And then later on, I just went through life kind of helping people and changing my own eating habits, and started to become just aware of what certain foods did in our bodies. And in 2019, I launched my own food and health lifestyle plans for women, basically. And I just have to tell you about my first client. My first client, she wanted to just really change her weight. She wanted to drop weight. She wanted to have more energy and a few other personal things. She called me one day and said, "Guess what?" I'm like, "What?" She said, I was getting on the highway and I normally need my glasses late in the evening, but she said, I actually could see and I didn't need my glasses. That was just incredible to me. I was shocked. She was shocked. And she said, I know it's because of the food I've been eating, my fitness plan, and definitely mindset, because mindset is a big deal. So that's how it all began. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what a fascinating story. And then thank you for sharing this personal story. I didn't know that about you, but it's fantastic when we became our own advocates and we learn how to heal ourselves. That's wonderful when it inspires that courage in you to go share that gift with other women. Because I mean, ultimately, I know as a nutritionist, you typically deal with common problems so many women face in the middle age. It's weight gain, right? And often we get into this kind of a notion that, oh, I'm going to starve my body to death, right? So I'm going to not eat, and then hoping that's going to get you to that shape and energy you had in your 20s. But it's so far from the truth, isn't it? So
Yes.
tell me, when you hear the word nutrition, what does that mean to you?
Nutrition means to me feeding your body what it needs. And it's eating foods that your body can actually use. It's very important that people understand that. Sometimes people are just eating just because it's there, because it's free, because they're at an event, because they went to the store and bought it. One thing I look forward to doing is going into kitchens and just start throwing away stuff. I was at a friend's house the other day and I just happened to be in her kitchen and I just felt like, oh my goodness. I opened up her pantry. I just wanted to start with that vegetable oil, canola oil, and just throw it away. But I didn't. So, nutrition is really giving your body the foods that have vitamins and minerals that makes your body thrive. That is really it.
But it sounds like such a simple recommendation, but yet it's so difficult, right? So let's talk about that. So I think it's fascinating to talk about the psychology and why we are eating what we're not supposed to, and how we get into that evil cycle of eating something we're not supposed to that's damaging to our bodies, feeling guilty, punishing ourselves with either heavy exercise or starvation, and then having food cravings and go back into eating something that we're not supposed to, right?
Right.
So that's your typical client, isn't it?
It really is.
So let's talk about the psychology. How did you get people like click off that evil cycle?
It happens over time. First of all, I help them realize that the food that you are eating, it is damaging to your body. And the thing is, they already know it. See, built inside every human, you know right from wrong. And it doesn't always mean, oh, I know not to go rob a bank or I know not to cheat a person. No, you know what's good for you when you eat it. It's already built inside. So when people sign up for my plans, we go on the journey together. And I don't just take them off of what is bad for them. We'd say, we replace it. I'm really big on substitutions. I mean, that's what saved me. I really grew up with Southern food in the house, the oil. So, let's take one example, the oil that I just mentioned. Don't buy vegetable, canola, safflower, sunflower oil. Replace it with olive or avocado or sesame oil. It's a very simple thing. And in this day and age, people know better, but it's hard when so many different things are pushed in your face. I also believe that some childhood habits are still there. I talk to some clients and their parents have, allowed them to eat so much sugar growing up. The mom may put, or dad may put sugar in the food and it becomes attached. It's almost like it's attached to their DNA or something. I'm not inside the body, but I see these commonalities that are happening. So we have to retrain the brain and the mind to do what is healthy. And the great thing is, Natalia, is that the foods that my clients are eating, they love it because it is delicious. We talk about the substitutions. You don't totally stop eating cheese. You just replace it with a cheese that is good for you, that is compatible with your molecular structure. So it's just retraining the mind and the brain. And I have so many fascinating lessons that when I get on with my clients, that they have the ability to learn. So it's awesome.
Yes, yes. No, that's a very powerful thing that we really don't want to teach our clients, our patients to withdraw, to restrict themselves some way, because that's what develops that unhealthy relationship with food, the hateful food, thinking like certain foods are forbidden. So instead of focusing on what's forbidden, you're focusing on what you're replacing. And then speaking about the taste buds, what I always remind of my patients, it's overall the history of humanity. We've been on this planet for a really long time, several thousands of years. And only for the past 100+ years, we have abundance of food. It's not normal for humans to have that much food available. We've been starving. We've been constantly hiding for food, growing food. So we never had that much sugar, processed foods as we have now in the 20th, 21st century. So our DNA hasn't caught up with it yet. So now we have to use our big brain, human brain, to temporarily restrict yourself from that processed food, because our body intuitively wants that very high calorie dense foods because they used to be very limited to us. But now, since we have the abundance, that's where you need to make sure you do that kitchen, clean up and then throw away all the garbage and then replace it with wholesome foods and retrain your taste buds. It is a little process. It's a little bit of that withdrawal moment, right? Because also that's another important thing we talked about in a different episode is a microbiome, because your microbiome also adjusts to the food you eat. If you eat a lot of sugar, you have a lot of candida in your digestive tract. And that is a very, very smart organism, actually sends signals to your brain to get up in the middle of the night and go get a cookie to feed it. So then when you go into withdrawal, you do have to personally restrict yourself not to eat the cookie until that candida dies off. And then you can feed it carrots and everything else, because your microbiome will actually want that. There's a little bit of that mental strength. And that's why it's so important to have a food coach like you, the person who can talk to someone that, yes, those changes are temporary. Yes, you're going to get through it. And ultimately, you're absolutely right. We are intuitively, especially women, because we are so intuitive. We forget how much we know our bodies. We don't give our body a break, a little slow down, and to think, am I really hungry right now? Or am I eating because it's a lunch break? Right? Am
Right.
I at this whatever party? Do I really need another bite of that? I don't know, cheesecake, whatever you call it. Do I need another glass of champagne? Right? Often you don't. And you just do it on autopilot. So
Yes.
really learning how to reconnect with yourself and ask yourself the questions, do I need to nourish myself right now? Or am I just throwing everything in my body like I'm a garbage can, right?
Yes, Natalia, that is so important. And you said something just now that sparked a memory a few months ago. I'm here in Atlanta, and I have been going to these AI meetings. They're like the first film festival group that's in AI, right? And they had pizza in the back, drinks, whatever. And, it's a bunch of young folks. But what's interesting is the woman that was sitting next to me, and I've seen her at several AI events, she actually brought her own dinner and she opened it up and she showed me, and we started talking, and then I filmed it because she had her own like spinach and sprouts, and she made a sandwich. And I'm like, she said, yeah, whenever I go to events, I bring my own food because I know it's going to be unhealthy food. And I'm like, that is really a great idea, is to just prepare. Because when you're there, you're drawn to it like, oh, I'll just take a little piece of, maybe one slice of pizza. And then you feel bad about it later. And so preparing your day. And not only for events, work and whatever, just whatever works for you to make sure you're not drawn in by the environment of whatever food is there.
You're so right, and for me, I travel a lot, and I think that's where I get the sickest. It's when I fly. So when they feed you whatever food they feed you while you're flying, we all know your taste buds change as you go like 30,000 or so feet in the air. And then they serve you the food that's really high on fat and then really high on salt. And then every single time I land, I'm like, why am I so puffy? Well, hello, that's what you just ate. So you're
Yeah.
really planning ahead. And if you don't have plan, you never know where you're going to land. You end up eating something that's really not that great for you. So that's probably one of the best advices. And it's kind of like brings me to the next question. Since you are a nutritionist, can you tell us what will be the most essential change you can make for healthier, more nutrient dense foods?
If you could make one switch right now, and I have a tie because I was going to make a video about that, Natalia. This is good. Sugar and cheese. Oh my goodness. I would switch sugar to date sugar or date syrup. You can buy it in the store. Make sure it's date only. Read the ingredients. It's not fluffed up with a bunch of other stuff. Or you can make your own. There's some simple recipes out there. And actually, I'm going to have one in my Pretty Food Cookbook, which is due out this month,
Oh,
October.
congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you. I'm so excited about that. Yeah, because this white sugar is so processed. It's just not even a food, really, when you do the research. And my second one would definitely be cheese. It's one of the most toxic foods, if you can call it food, in the US. Now, I'm only talking US because there are other countries that don't even play around with that. You can't even bring that garbage in our country. But if you're here in the US, definitely goat or sheep cheese. Sheep, as in bad sheep. And I've learned a lot about these cheeses over the past few months, and it's been really fun. Actually, there's someone in North Georgia that I look forward to going to visit. They have a sheep farm because, I'm really a food explorer. That is, woo, I love doing that. So I want to go, maybe milk a sheep. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That sounds so fantastic. I'm jealous. I would love to go meet a sheep and milk a sheep. And then make your own cheese. How fun is that?
I want to carry one of those staples and lead the sheep down the street. I'm
How cute.
shepherd.
But honestly, you are absolutely right because personally, I love sugar. As many women, we're drawn into sweet foods and we have a lot more taste buds in our mouth for sweets. So you cannot completely deny yourself a sweet food. So if you have a sweet tooth, it's all about the substitution, as you said. So it's fascinating you mentioned dates because when I go to Middle East, they drink coffee with fresh dried date, not with sugar. So, and then speaking of sugar, this white, very purified sugar, it's very common in the United States, but not for the rest of the world. And then we also really eager to do some kind of like a sugar-free substitutions, like Splenda, and we also have aspartame, which you know how toxic that is. But the sugar itself, the actual real cane sugar, it's supposed to be kind of like caramelly brown color. So when you eat the raw sugar, it's really not that bad for you. Like 1 teaspoon of sugar, it's not that much of a loaded with calories. So if you want to add some kind of sweetener everywhere, just go for non-purified sugar. And then, yes, I will definitely follow your advice and try date syrup. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and I eat dates every day. I eat dates and walnuts as a snack every day. And I had stopped for a while, and this is really interesting. I stopped and then I started back eating walnuts and dates, and I'm actually showing my nails are getting stronger. I feel different because of that. And I'm like, wow, it used to be I used to take a vitamin E caplet, and I'm totally not against supplements because I do take some supplements sometimes. But I notice when I eat certain foods, it's like, wow, well, this got stronger, this got tighter, this feels better.
Yes,
Just like when
yes.
you eat something that does not agree with you, inside, I ate that. Now, how can I replace it? But we have to use Chat GPT, Google, whatever, and look up different substitutes. And normally you're going to find the truth. Most of the time you'll find the truth. Just look at the source, that's not just from some general source. It's from a real nutritionist or people that really work in naturopathic medicine.
Yes, yes. No, 100% agree with you. Always, when you take an advice from someone, look at the credentials of that person. What gives them the right to give you advice, right? And also, whatever the advice could be, I think that what you just point out extremely important is it still has to be your journey. So you do have to try different flavors, different combinations, and most importantly, slow down and reflect. How do you feel after consuming this? What changes do you see in your body? And that's where, when I talk about nutrition with my patients, I always say, let's start with a food diary. It doesn't have to be anything like elaborate. It doesn't have to be some expensive app. You can just literally pick up your iPhone and do little note draws every day. Hey, today I feel like this. Hey, today I woke up with a headache. Hey, today I didn't really have a good bowel movement. And then you start to draw connections. Because ultimately, if you're not being your own advocate, nobody else can tell you how to heal yourself. You really need to make sure you taking time to reflect and to think how the food's affecting you.
That is so true, Natalia.
Yeah.
Quinoa, anyone who follows me and knows me, I'm a big quinoa advocate. That's another replacement. Quinoa or wild rice instead of just rice.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, what a great change. I was just looking at someone who left out some rice, and rice will still be the same way if you leave it on the counter for 2 or 3 days. It won't even spoil. That's a problem. Be happy when you see your avocados turn black immediately, like it should be. This is when that
Yes.
oxidation hits it, it's supposed to start to rot. And I love to see dirt on my vegetables and fruits. I'm like, I found a worm on my kale one day. I was like, woo, like this, is so, it's like,
If, yes, if the worm wants to eat it, I definitely want to eat it. No, 100% agree with you. So, speaking of vegetables, I know you've heard this very cliche, overbidden expression, eat your rainbow. But let's kind of unpack that and explain to our listeners why it's important to eat the rainbow. What's in the color that is so important to our body?
yeah, the different colors of vegetables, they all have different nutrients in them. And that is why the rainbow is important. When I make a plate of food, I need to see different colors on it. Now, growing up, I ate grits, eggs, bacon, and toast almost every morning. My grandmother made that every day. Most of the other kids had cereal. I never ate cereal in the morning but I had a grandmother at home that didn't work, so that was it. And even throughout my 20s, I just felt like I had to have that in the morning before I could even move on to the next meal. Now that has been replaced with quinoa, eggs, kale, and, red peppers and mushrooms. That is my breakfast, and definitely chickpea bread. I make my own bread. So those colors are so important. And when we talk about like skincare, we go to the yellows, orange, yellow, or gold in that family. So we're talking about carrots and sweet potatoes. And Natalia, I can really tell a difference. It almost like my skin needs that carrot or sweet potato at a certain time of the year. It's an interesting thing. And it goes back to you have to pay attention to your body and do your research. Like it's known that carrots and sweet potatoes, those colors are really good for the skin. They nourish it. So all your colors are important. We don't need to lack on any of them. And once you start going down that road, it can change your mindset and the way you start thinking about foods. And you said something a few minutes ago, and it's something I teach my clients not to say, but I know you don't play around. You know your body, and you're going to do the right thing regardless of what you say. But most people are not there. So my clients can't, after the first day of working with me, they can't say, I love sugar, I love macaroni and cheese. They can't say these things. It is forbidden. So we replace those things. I love to drink my water and, all the things that it does for me. And I have a recipe called the Vibrant Mix, and it has kale, red onions, all the colors of the peppers, the reds, the yellows, and the oranges. Mushrooms is in it. And I call it Vibrant Mix because it is just so full of flavor and color. And it gets you excited when you see it. And I have my clients also take a picture of all these colors. It is like beautiful art going in your body that, helps you thrive. So,
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we can get very nerdy and explain what each color contains, right? What kind of micronutrients are there. But the simplest thing I always trying to teach my patients to just play a game, especially for the ones who are very stubbornly tell you, I don't like vegetables. I always laugh and say, well, which ones? Because there's hundreds of edible plants on this planet. So have you tried them all? Probably not. So if you
right.
don't like broccoli, that doesn't count. You don't have to eat broccoli every day. But I always say put three colors on your plate. Beige and brown and yellow cheese do not count. That's not a color. So we're talking about the vibrant colors of plants. And once you start playing that game, it becomes fun to create your food. Because exactly like you said, with your vibrant mix, right? The easiest thing is to do to get 4 different colors of bell peppers and throw it into your salad, into your dinner, some kind of mix, to throw it in your eggs in the morning. And you can also play with things like berries. Berries are loaded with nutrients. Of course, if they're organic. If they're not, then, don't get me started. But deep colored berries like blackberries, blueberries, especially if you live in the area where in the summer you have wild berries. That's something I really miss when I was growing up in Russia. We used to go berry harvesting. It's so fun. Going through that, forest bathing, we call it, for getting up super early in the morning at the dawn and you just go in finding those berries and they're so loaded with flavor. It's amazing. I so miss that. But that's where nutrition really becomes medicine at that point. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And, I was listening to an expert the other day, and they were saying in the winter, buy your berries and fruit frozen because, most of the
They were
fruits and
picked in the
vegetables,
summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully you're getting a good batch. And oh my goodness, the fact that you could go and hunt wild berries, that's known as the number one fruit. If there's one fruit to eat, it is the wild blueberry. So I've heard many studies on that. And yeah, and get them frozen just to make sure in the winter, because where did they grow in the summer for them to be, sitting on our grocery shelves? I don't know.
Yeah. I know it's interesting, but I know there are some wild harvestings because I live in Arizona. I think in northern Arizona, there are clubs that people go to and they do mushroom harvesting and berry harvesting. So I unfortunately don't have time for that. So to really explore the areas of the state where I live. So I just miss my childhood and those memories of going there harvesting with my grandfather. And it just kind of like reminds me a story when I took my husband to Russia for the very first time in the early 2000s. And we took this taxi to go to my grandma who lives in the deep, deep country. And when we were coming back to Moscow, it was in the middle of summer. So a lot of times older women would be sitting at the side of the major road stops and then selling the wild harvested berries. So we were driving past one and my husband saw it and he goes, what is this? And I said, those are blueberries. And they don't look like your store blueberries because they're so much smaller. And then they're so much darker too. They almost black, like they truly like black berries, except they're blueberries. But so we got it. And I remember my husband eating it and his eyes were just huge. And he goes, what is this? I've never tasted anything like that because it's just this punchy, rich blueberry flavor. Like if you never had the wild berry, like you're missing in life, trust me. Like if you have the option to go get it, please try. And it is so loaded with vitamins, you cannot ever possibly capture it in the form of a supplement or a pill. Yeah. So anyways, so that brings me into our conversation about skin, right? Because that's what we all started with, eat your skincare.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of good ideas about eating your skincare. Like we just talked about blueberries, for example, right? They're loaded with antioxidants. It will improve the color of your skin, your complexion, it'll help your vision, your nails. But there are some trends in social media that is not really fully true. We already started talking about eating yellow, gold, orange vegetables. They are loaded with beta carotene, right?
Yeah.
The beta carotene is a precursor to retinol. And anybody who ever tried anything in skincare knows the retinol is good for wrinkles. We'll sometimes use it for acne too, but more so it's for wrinkles because it helps to improve cell turnover and make your skin plumper, more youthful. And who doesn't want to look more youthful? So let's talk a little bit about biochemistry. Will eating carrot equal the same as putting retinol on your face? What do you think, Yoshi?
I don't think so. I think you should just do both.
Yes, I know. That's a simple answer, isn't it?
Get the best of both worlds. And then you're eating the carrot. It's going to do other great things within your body as well, maybe even improve your eyesight, So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. You're so 100% right. Simple answer. Eat both. I mean, do both, people. Please do both.
Right.
So, but for nerds who want to ask us a question, but why, why can I do this instead of the other? So topical retinol, it's the retinoic acid specifically, has completely different biochemical reaction on your skin. When you eating beta carotene, which come from carrots or yams or a pumpkin, it is a pumpkin season right now, so please, people, eat the pumpkin. Don't just buy a Starbucks latte. That beta carotene, it's a very major antioxidant. And then speaking of antioxidants, that's a whole reason why we age and die in the first place, because we are oxidizing slowly. Similar, like you said, that avocado you cut and it starts to brown. We do that too at a much slower pace. So antioxidants are essential for every day, every minute of living, because we're fighting that oxidation process. So beta carotene is a very strong antioxidant. And then very small, very tiny little percentage of it, your body will convert into retinol. But even internally, retinol does a different things. It stimulates your cells to reproduce, to regenerate, not the same thing as a putting it topically on your face. So yes, do both, people. You cannot just eat carrots and assume it's going to erase your wrinkles. Doesn't work that way.
That's right.
That brings me to a different topic, which I have people asking me, I swear to God, every single day. What about collagen powders? Are you a big fan of it?
So if you're taking collagen, I do think collagen does benefit the body, even if you happen to not see it in your face, because most of all, when we're talking about skin, we're talking about the face. It may be, helping your joints, which is really important. So, you can't always just look at it, okay, it's not helping me because my face doesn't look like Natalya's face, so that's my take on it.
Yes, yes. No, you're absolutely right. What I usually tell people, collagen is wonderful. I think every woman should take collagen. Not necessarily because, again, she wants to erase wrinkles, but mainly because of women, especially women over 40, we are starting to lose our muscle mass and we're notorious for not eating enough protein. And what is collagen? It's a protein, right? As simple as that. So if you do not want to spend $80 on some fancy jar of a collagen powder, I always say, well, take maybe an hour or so on Sunday and make your own bone broth. Here's your collagen powder. Hello.
Yeah.
If you get a nice, rich bones, and it doesn't have to be beef, because some women have a beef with a beef. They don't want to eat the beef. That's fine. You can do chicken. You just really pick whatever animal, but the bones release that marrow, which is loaded with collagen. So your broth, when it's cooled down, should be in the form of gelatin. That's the collagen you want to drink. And it's very nutrition. The bones also, the bone broth has lots of antioxidants there. And hello, it costs a lot less money. So it's probably going to cost you like, I don't know, maybe $5 to make a gigantic batch of bone broth, which you can drink every morning or afternoon, whenever you choose to drink it. It doesn't really matter. Very healing to your digestive tract as well. And then you can also flavor that bone broth in any way possible. Like me, I got really hooked into making the pho style bone broth. Oh,
Ah,
so good in the
oh my
winters.
goodness.
It just warms your soul. It's so
Oh,
great.
yes, I understand what you're saying, but you're in Arizona.
Yes.
Does it get cold where
It
you
still
are?
gets cold in the winter. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't snow. It's really rarely. Like if we see the snow, it's going to be on the peak of the mountains. So in the valley, we don't really see the snow. But temperatures still can drop down to like 40s at night. It's still wonderful, like 70s, 80s during the day. But you'll wake up in the morning, and I get up early to go to the gym. And it's kind of a little nippy outside. So you do want something like to warm yourself up a little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When we used to 100 plus weather, that's, 70s, it's like chilly. Bring out the fur coat. Yeah.
I know, right? I look forward to coming out there and doing some foraging or something. So, well, we're already in October. Probably November will be my first mushroom forage up in the mountains. And I am so,
Oh
oh, I
my gosh.
can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. And then, speaking about the mushrooms, that's a completely different topic. And you and I probably should explore it at a different episode because the mushrooms are very unique creatures, right? They're not vegetables, they are fungi. So they're very different organisms, and what they do to our bodies is very different. It's great for microbiome, but yeah, very deep topic. And I think we should kind of dwell into it in the future. But before we wrap up, let's give our listeners, because most of our listeners are women, middle-aged women like about 35, starting to see some hormonal changes. Common problems that brings them, at least into my practice, is I look dull, I feel tired, I don't sleep, I'm cranky, I'm moody. So if we are giving them advice about nutrition and they want to do something nourishing for their bodies, what is one simple shift you encourage them to do? How they start?
One simple shift would be really add vegetables to every meal. Really, it is going to change your energy level because it automatically was created to do that. More vegetables every meal. I don't care if it's a little bit of vegetables. Make sure that some green is in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know green is very powerful. What I always say about the green is chlorophyll, which essentially is a plant blood, right? It's the way they oxygenate and send nutrients throughout the whole plant. So when you're eating something a deep, deep green color, it's loaded with that nutritional value of blood of a plant, if you will. So if you want to have a beautiful glow on your skin, green is your friend, people.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely
I
agree with that.
agree.
All right, my dear. So tell us, how will people find you? If they are so curious about nutrition, they want to start the journey with you, they want to hire you as a nutrition coach, where are you?
Okay, my website is dailygoodsip.com, and it's daily like the daily news, good like you're a good person, and sip like you're sipping tea.com.
Yes. We will definitely going to put it in the comments for this episode, so please check it out. Are you on social media, Yoshi? Can people find you anywhere on social media?
Yes, it's the same thing at Daily Good Sip, same vibe. There we go.
Perfect. And what about your book? When your book is launches and it's like coming up, right? It is like already October. Where will it be available? Is it the audiobook, printed
It's
book?
an ebook, but it is also in pre-order stage, so you can order it right now, and when it launches later in the month, I'll send it right to you, and you get a sneak peek recipe that is delicious with all types of color.
That's so exciting. Well, I hope our listeners will check it out. We are putting all the links about Yoshi and how to find Yoshi below this episode. So please find her. She is an incredible source of knowledge. And all we did today is kind of like showed up a tiny little tip of the iceberg. Ultimate message that I want to leave our listeners with is love your food. When you're looking at the plate that you're eating, it should give you joy. It should give you excitement. Choosing a salad for lunch should never feel like punishment. If that salad does feel like punishment to you, then redo the salad. Maybe you don't need to do salad. Maybe you need to do a power bowl. Put things like a quinoa, for example. Like we know Yoshi loves her quinoa. I actually love quinoa too, but I'm the only one in the family that loves quinoa, so that's why I don't eat it that often. Because when I make it, the rest of my family is like, oh, what is this stuff? So ultimately, find what gives you joy, because I guarantee you there are nutritional foods, plants, grains that are very nourishing to you and also exciting to your soul. And if you don't have that excitement eating your food, don't eat it. Try different things. Go to the store, play a game, try new vegetable every day until you find your joy. Because the joy, that's what really nourishes you, nourishes your body. And then the food, the dense nutritional food, becomes not just a life choice, it becomes your choice. It becomes power of your life. You'll never drop it because it's never going to be that temporary diet. The temporary diets, we all know they fail.
Definitely. And my last words would be experience life, don't just exist.
That's very powerful because life is way too short to just exist, right? We should just really enjoy every single moment. And the food is a wonderful part of our life.
Yes,
So
it
that's
is.
please don't hate food, people. Yes. And then take care of your skin because when you take care of your insides, your face will glow without any injections or expensive treatments. It's just what you put inside your body shows up on your face.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Yoshi. It was a wonderful, very exciting conversation. I'm looking forward to have you again. And I think next time you and I are going to talk about mushrooms. Deal?
Yes, for sure. Maybe we could eat mushrooms during the episode as well.
There you go. And we're not talking about hallucinogenic mushrooms, people. That's not that kind of talk. Okay. We talk about nutritional mushrooms. All right. Well, everyone, have a great day. Thank you for your attention. And we'll look forward to the next episode.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on Unveiled Radiance. If this episode resonates with you, please share with someone you love, with another woman who might need to hear this information. And for full experience, head to unveilyou.life, where we share everything about skin, hormones, and even self-confidence. Until the next time, thank you for joining me, and please take care of yourself from inside and out.